do have limited seating, so I don't know. We're gonna have to talk about the Zoom thing makes it easier because for when we're on Zoom here, because then Andrea's at all the controls there and it's easy, you know, people can hear us from home and we're not filming in that awkward way.
Yeah, it seems to be working.
It works pretty well but it's the sound. It's muted. Is it live?
Yeah, it's live.
Okay.
You're not on mute though.
I've got to go back into Zoom. Is that it? Okay. I think we're all set. All right, we good? Oh, we'll wait one more till you ready, Kevin? You good? Okay, we have one more person to hook in and then we'll be ready. Gallery, okay. Kevin, you good? I don't want to start without you. Yes? Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 20th, 2021 regular town board meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and salute the flag. If you join me in that, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Let me see what you're on. Okay. We are not going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes tonight. We're going to wait until our work session in June because we discovered when Andrea and I were reviewing them, actually, you didn't get the completed copy because the transfers that we voted on last month weren't included. So Andrea's going to put those on and then our clerk we'll send them back out.
Okay.
And we will vote on those. We're going to have, for our work session in June, the first Thursday, we are going to have a session in which we're permitted, we're going to notice it so that we can take action and we can vote on things like that. Okay. So we'll be in good shape and the transfers will be included. Okay, next up, we have tonight a special proclamation. And I am told that we have a rather humble town clerk because she's the very last clerk in the entire county to put forth to show me this proclamation. All the other clerks gave it to their supervisors, I think in April and May. And I don't think Andrea, she probably felt a little awkward, but it's a really wonderful idea. And I'm going to read this proclamation, which is the 52nd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 2nd through May 8th, 2021. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, Betsy Moss, Supervisor of the town of Unionville, do recognize the week of May 2nd through May 8th, 2021 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerks, Andrea Casey, Town Clerk, and Kathy Wellman, Deputy Town Clerk, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Hear, hear. To our clerk.
I just want to thank you, everyone at the town board. And I also wanted to thank Mary Lou DeForest, our retired town clerk of 35 years, for training me in this amazing opportunity. and former Deputy Clerk Elizabeth Panko as well for helping me out initially.
Thank you. We appreciate your service, and I know all the residents do too. Okay, now we'll move into Town Supervisor remarks, and we're going to talk a little bit, a few interesting topics. The American Rescue Plan Act, there was a seminar about where the government has, the federal government has promised to send money to all these local governments and municipalities. And the interesting thing about it is that, Mr. Delgado was very, very optimistic. He was very, because he helped write it, very optimistic about what we might be able to do with it and all of that. And then today there was a seminar about the American Rescue Plan Act. And it seems like that cannabis one a little bit, there's a few inconsistencies, and I think that it's not all settled business, but here's what it sounds like. Number one, because we're a town, the money won't come from the US Treasury. I think I mentioned this before. The money, now the list that came out said that Unionville would be getting $510,000.
Right.
Dutchess County would be getting $57 million. The counties obviously is based on population.
Sure.
So a lot of the bigger towns will get a lot of money.
Can I ask one question? What population, what census, 2020 or 2010?
I think that's a good question. I remember we talked about it, but I forgot the answer.
Okay, just curious.
I think they were trying to get the numbers out of the recent one, so they might have had fewer dollars than they would have. But I think they were trying to get the numbers from the most recent one, or maybe that's why the delay is. They were waiting for all that to be finished. So, but they should be using the new ones. They just finished it. But anyway, it sounds like is that it's not really clear what we can use this money for. Big surprise. So we have to make sure we have to be very cautious about this. They're going to give us the money. They're going to send the money to New York State. New York State's going to give us the money. It's going to be divided in two. The number that they put out all over the place may not be the right number. They're going to double check. So, even though that was printed everywhere, and the Treasury and other offices released those numbers, they're still hedging their bets, saying they got to double check. They're also saying that if you can't put your money to use in the limited subject or items that they've outlined for us, then they're going to take it back.
Oh, gosh.
So now here's the interesting thing to me. They said water and sewer, broadband, and then they kind of, Congressman Delgado had a whole loose kind of infrastructure, but you have to be able to justify everything. And the thing is, if they might change the criteria, it's very complicated, but they might change here's what I'm hearing. They might change the criteria. So you have to be really careful and not spend the money, because then they'll take the money back from you, even though you thought that was part of the criteria.
So you could spend it on what you think is the criteria, and they say, no, that wasn't, and they
changed,
come up with more money to pay them back.
Right. So the idea here is that we will double and triple check before we take a step forward, and,
Sure.
and maybe wait for more guidance, because they, it's kind of like the cannabis law where they kind of wanted it out there quickly, and there were a lot of things they hadn't finished thinking about. But the fact of the matter is, we are getting the money. It's going to come in 2 tranches. It's going to be a pain in the neck to we've already got an account set up to put it in, so that it won't be commingled with other funds, and it'll sit there until we know exactly what we're going to spend it on. But it's funny, I started to work on the broadband thing. I was thinking, we have a group of seniors that are having trouble with landlines and don't have internet or don't have Wi-Fi, don't have phone services proper. And then we have certain people that don't have Wi-Fi because, for example, and Kevin, this stuff, Altice or Optimum will pay for like the first 500 feet of wiring, but if your house is a mile in, they're not going to pay.
Of course.
And the people haven't paid. So I talked to Altice, and I talked to our contact at Altice that we finally have after all our complaining. And he's going to get us all the data of exactly who the customers are, like how many customers we have, and where we don't have customers of theirs, since that's our sole provider. And we would probably be able to deduce that those people aren't signed up for the service for a certain reason. And then we're going to want to try to get them proper service to make sure everybody in the town has it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I called the county and listen, this sounds like good news, but I don't want to make an announcement before they do. But the county, I talked to them at length, And it sounds to me that through my conversation with Dana Smith, that Mark Molinaro is going to say the county is going to do broadband because they have some of the same stipulations, but different ones. And they're getting 57 million. And if they can take every town, it's actually easier for them to do it than us because our authority only goes to the end of the line, the end of the town line. But it sounds like they're getting a consultant on board and they're going to figure out how to get broadband and Wi-Fi to everybody in the whole county using their money.
Wow.
So that would be a really nice thing for all of us. And we'll have to work together. So getting that data that we're asking for is important. Okay, so we'll stay tuned for that announcement, but that's where they're going. The other thing I wanted to do tonight, at first, I wanted to really thank the Unionville Fire Department, the fire company, for that wonderful turnout for the Orange Bag campaign, which I think was a lot of fun. It was fun and it was a big success.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of mess got cleaned up.
a lot of mess got cleaned up.
Thanks to Ed and the highway guys for picking up all those 50 bags and
Yeah, they're next. And then
tires.
the next group is the highway guys because that container was there and you didn't even get perfect droppings in there every time. You had to deal with some sorting and not a big deal. Well, thank you so much. I think that people that everybody in this room just about was involved in it and one way or another. And I think everybody really enjoyed it. And the fire department had a great turnout. So we thank them profusely. I think Steve Schmoke did a nice job organizing it.
Yeah.
So, and you and John Del Benny were very helpful. It was a good group. So anyway, I think the residents were really pleased as well. Also, I want to thank Stephen Stiles from the airport and also Dennis Spinney at the church, the Valley, Club Valley Church, the Bible
Fellowship.
Yeah. The Dennis Spinney had people out a week before. They didn't have the orange bags yet because we hadn't announced it. They were using black bags and Stephen Stiles cleaned up like 3 miles of road he went all the way around the airport. And he said, I think he does it every year for Earth Day. So both of them and others may have done it. And I think we've featured some people in pictures.
Yeah, some people cleaned up Westfield Mountain tires with the road.
The road stuff, Sue Kilcrease did. I know that Nancy Redkey was out there.
Very nice job.
They alerted us to the fact there was a toilet hidden in the woods, which we got with the fire department. Yeah. So anyway, and that nice gentleman from the gun club.
There's 100 going to be looking for that.
Jeff
Crum?
Yeah.
Clum.
Yeah.
Nice guy. He was with us. We were a team of 6 and he was great. And his daughter was terrific. So thanks to everybody. A lot of organizations represented. I also wanted to take a minute to talk about financials. We gave the board members some papers that you don't usually get. And I know sometimes if people don't always print, sometimes they don't have time to look at them. But I wanted to make sure everybody knows that the building department report, which you have a copy of in hard copy this time, shows all the activities that went on for the month. And it shows, it's the back of that.
Yeah.
It shows, what permits and everything. And so that's in there. And it was a very busy month at $12,000 of worth of permits. That shows how busy George Kolb is. You also got, and again, I know sometimes these things come in and not everybody opens them. You get the deposit detail for the general fund and for the highway fund. So you see what was deposited in those accounts. You also get a list of the abstracts, and the abstracts, I don't know if you guys ever get a chance to look at this, but this lists all the bills that we pay for the highway fund. And these are called the abstract of audited claims, meaning they've been signed off on by the town board or audited by the town board. So these are all the bills we paid last month that you don't always see in person. And $13,000 for the highway department. You get an escrow report, which is really more involved with the planning and zoning. And then of course every month you get this copy that shows the performance versus budget for each department and for the town. And I just wanted to mention it to you because things, we've had a couple of things happen. I told the board members already, but I want to make sure it's in the record. The Department of Labor returned $15,927.49, which is almost 100% of what we paid in unemployment. Because they got paid somebody to reimburse municipalities for unemployment claims. So we got $16,000 back.
Nice to get that back.
We got $7,000 in shared services back. What you'll see if you go to the second page of the town overview is that we're at 100, for the month of April, we're at 110% of our revenue budget, of our income, which is great. And then if you go to the very last page, you can see that we're at 65% of our expenditures. So, which is normal with our really good team of managers here. They do a good job of trying not to, like Mr. Kading, Jake Gosnell, George, people that work here and in the recreation area, they're really cognizant about trying to manage their expenditures. But I'm so excited about April because we're 110% of budget. We haven't been there a long time. We made $50,000 more this month than we did a year ago. And part of it that Jake will talk about is our summer camp is going gangbusters. But everybody's doing really well. And I just wanted to show you the whole report. Okay. So sometimes I know it's easier in hard copy. Okay, so cash flow, the cash flow that I mentioned was 110% for the month, but for the year, we're at 101% for all 4 months. And for the year, we're at 77% of our budget as far as where we normally could be as far as expenditures. So we're doing a good job. Cash balances. In the general fund, we have a total of $3,828,970. And in the highway fund, we have $1,017,734, which we're going to write a big check for soon. But anyway, both of those funds, that's because it has the tax money that was paid by our residents in there, and we will operate with that accordingly. I wanted to give the town board members an update on the Bonavenia application that had come in. We got a request from a property owner in the town of Unionville, and they had approached the town board via writing and asked us if we would consider altering the town code to remove a stipulation in the TC, the town center zone. And we discussed it at our work session. I talked to the planner, I talked to the lawyer based on the plan that we came up with. And then I called the Bonavenias back and explained to them that the process, and in our escrow fee schedule, it shows that we will look into it. The board met and had a discussion about it 4 days after receiving the letter. So they were very happy with that. And I explained to them that the process would be that we would have a planner work with the board and analyze all the TC properties and analyze what effect any change would have on those properties. We would need legal counsel to help with any changes along with the planner. And those would both be escrow deposits. And then finally at the end in our escrow, it says that this wouldn't fall on the taxpayers of Unionville because of their asking for it, that they would pay to have our town code updated, which to put it in print. And then Andrea and I have been researching these numbers. It's between $1,200 and $1,500. It looked like the escrow for the project, because of analyzing all of TC, could be as much as $10,000. And then of course they'd be refunded anything that we didn't spend. So they thought it was great that we would analyze all of TC, because if they were another person with property in TC, they would hope that we would talk to them and analyze it before making changes too. But their decision was not to ask us not to go forward, to stop and wait. They are going to really study the code now. I showed them how to get on the code and where to find it. And they said, we're going to explore with our consultants what we might be able to do without you guys having to do anything.
Oh, good.
So they're going to go back to the drawing table. Instead of making it all residential, they're looking at a couple different things. Anyway, they're going to come back to us when they finish doing that research. Okay, so that's good. I think they were happy, and I think we were okay there. And we'll look forward to hearing from them again if they want to have something else changed. The annual update document, which is the annual report that's the town submits to the state, was submitted before the deadline. And obviously it was, all of our books were in great shape, and it was everything all trues up. So we're very happy about that. Tax penalties, again, I've mentioned as a board at a work session, but the tax penalties, which are the penalties that the town gets from our property taxpayers, not school, but property taxpayers. After the deadline, when people pay their taxes, it's a 2% penalty if you pay it in March late, which is after the end of February. It's a 3% in April, and 2, 3, and 4% in May. And we've gotten over $13,000 in penalties,
Good.
which is well, the penalties are good and the people have their own reasons for wanting to pay when they pay.
Yeah,
And then, June 1st, everything goes over to the county.
right.
And if people can get it in before June 1st, that would be great, because when it goes to the county,
Yeah,
well, the county charges 5% the penalty.
and
So,
they keep that, right?
oh yeah, they keep it. Yeah, because they make us whole.
Right.
So, yeah. So anyway, just a reminder to everybody, if you can get any taxes in, you'll save a little bit of money. And the last item I just wanted to share with anybody, with the board members, was the solar development is going to go on, they're going to energize next week as a test to just test everything. Then they're going to turn it off, because George, they've got a punch list, or I'm calling it a punch list, but they've got a list of to-dos that they haven't finished yet. I want you to please go by and look at the place. The thing I'm worried about is that we never requested any which I don't know where they get water anyway, but those boxwoods are just,
I know, they look pretty far.
they have no water coming
Yeah.
at all. And part of their responsibility is to maintain them. And if they just had some water over there, they would not have to replace them. But they're looking pretty peaked, and they have to paint the fence black, some of the requirements that we made of them. So they're still doing all that. But I wanted you to know, if you heard any noise, if they're going to just test next week to make sure they're hooked up. They went under Route 55. They got that
Yeah,
done
see,
2
they
weeks
got
ago.
that done nicely.
Yeah. So they're happy. Now, there have been a couple, two women that have called town hall about the landfill side. The landfill side is causing consternation, at least with these two people. They think it's really unattractive and that we hired shoddy workers. And so I checked with everybody, and I had some of the other experts go and look at it. And basically, what I have been told by the experts was that, well, number one, it's on a landfill, and it's mountain, not mountainous, but it's
The
curvy.
hillside,
It's
yeah.
got hills, it's undulating land, and they are just following the land because it's a landfill. There's a cap.
Right, they can't change the profile.
They can't permeate that cap in any way. And the cap is so large, we couldn't even have plants planted around that cap, because the plant goes there's no
Yeah.
room.
Right.
So they put a fence around it. I don't know if you
Yeah, I saw
noticed that.
Yeah, I watched
So-
it from the-
yeah, oh, good. That's good. You're glad you're keeping an eye on that.
Yeah,
because-
yeah.
Anyway, they put the fence up, but they also tilt those panels a little bit. Weren't we talking about this, Ed? They tilt those panels a little bit to capture the most sun from different angles. But I think some of our residents think that these guys, had too much to drink the night they installed them or something. And it's not the case. That was done purposely.
Yeah,
The
they have to
DEC is
maximize
over
the
there.
sunrise.
Maximize it, and following the contour of the land.
Yeah.
And the DC has been over there multiple times.
Mhm.
They told me actually they drive by every day and look at it. So, and they're said it's right where it should be. So I apologize if people don't like it, but it's a beneficial thing for the town. So I hope people will get used to it. And
Yeah, offsets tax revenue.
yeah, it's a good thing for all of us. So anyway, those are my last comments. I just wanted to bring that to the fore. If anybody hears anything different, let me know, but that's the information I got. All right. At this point, I'd like to go to board member reports. I'll start over there this time. Councilman McGivney? You okay?
Yeah,
Well, thank your son. He joined us too. We appreciate it.
yeah, fun.
That's great.
I just said, I hope these careless drivers that throw this stuff out the window start realizing what a mess it makes, and a lot of people have to help clean it up. That'd be nice if they just stop doing that.
Councilman Derlin?
No, I'm good at this time. Thank you.
Councilman Frazier?
Yeah, same thing. Appreciate the fire department putting that event together, and it did make a big difference in how the roadways look around town.
Councilman Welsh?
Yeah, I've been going over the response from the town of Beekman about the annexation and how they basically disputed almost everything we said incorrectly as far as I'm concerned. So our supervisor and I sat down recently and went over it all in detail, giving information to our attorney to help hopefully get the record straight so it can be properly reviewed by the county to see it as it really is, the need for it.
Yeah.
And also I've been talking with the various constables about security issues, which we're going to talk about it as a group later.
Thank you very much. We had some good meetings this week, but it took hours. And we did send all that information over to the legal team, and I believe the deadline is next Tuesday. So thank you very much for that. That's all the board members. How about Mr. Kading, our highway superintendent report?
Okay. Just to update everyone on what's been going on. We have finished all of our blacktop overlay for 2021. Old Canby and Mallory are now done end to end. Burbank Club Road is done end to end. Robinwood from Bloomer to the cul-de-sac at the end is also done. And getting a lot of comments on Shaughnessy, which is also done end to end.
Any word from Tillman? Any word from Tillman about how Shaughnessy came out?
Actually, she was very complimentary.
I don't doubt it. Really is beautiful job.
I really like, I like her.
Yeah, oh
She's
yeah.
on.
Fun to be with.
She's
on here,
listening
yeah.
to you.
Yeah, no, did a really excellent job there, and
Okay.
she's a good judge of.
She's a good judge.
Yeah.
Well, she'll let you know if you didn't do
Yeah.
a good job.
Right, other things that we're up to, in the past couple of months, we've painted the frames on one truck, and another truck we did a complete paint job with the exception of the cab. We're trying to catch up on all of that. That's kind of been neglected over the years. So that's going on. Starting Monday, the 24th, we are going to be oil and chip sealing Flint Road from the town line to Canby, Bloomer Road end to end, Oswego Road from the town line to the Four Corners, and Jordan Court end to end. We're trying to preserve our investments of last year because those roads were resurfaced last year. I do know that for the residents up on Blueberry, I know that the road is in pretty rough shape. We're patching it. We're just waiting for the heavy construction up there in the subdivision to end before we resurface that road. We are aware of the condition of the road and we're trying to stay on top of it as best as possible. We are still at the highway department not taking brush because people are bringing in almost full trees, stumps, regardless of our signs. So if you could please find another spot to dump the brush and heavy wood, that would be great. Also, footnote to everyone, we are a man down in our crew. We had a guy get hurt on his own time, but he will be out probably most of the summer.
Oh.
So be patient with our crew. There's only 3 guys, so there's only so much 3 guys can do. We've started mowing roadsides. We've done all the sweeping of the roads. We're working on changing out the rest of the old steel culvert pipes on Tompkins in preparation for resurfacing Tompkins the year 2022. And we're still doing pothole repairs. So if you see something, please let me know so we can take care of it.
Great.
That's my report for tonight.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you. Now, do you want to go through these numbers?
Oh, yeah.
We have some administrative. So, John, I think you already saw it. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the vouchers. Ed, this is the voucher you submitted, and he and I were kind of comparing notes on this. So Ed has a voucher. You want me to go through the numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, the voucher is for all the work that Ed just described. It's $512,708.40. So 512, okay?
It's just the resurfacing.
It's just the resurfacing. You're going to fill in the details. I'm just going to give the numbers. So basically, the 284s that we signed total up to 565, 939. Now, because this was a little bit over what Ed wanted to spend, he's now going to spend, and you clarify this, I've got 63,706 for oil and chip, according to what we agreed to in the 284.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the 512 plus the 63, those two equal 576, 414. So that means he's actually $10,475.40 over the 284s. Now, what's not in this number is the CHIPS overage that we were allotted this year, that we read off at a previous meeting, that we're getting from New York State, and that dollar amount is $79,196.
Wow.
So because our CHIPS money that we're going to get reimbursed is 79, your 10 that went over, I guess what we're wondering, we obviously have the money, but do we need to vote on, do a new 284, or do we vote on the overage? How does that, you guys are more experienced in this. What
I
would
believe we
we?
just vote on the overage. Because I mean, that much has been approved.
Right, and we have the money coming in, the
Yeah.
whole thing is going to, okay, so why don't we, I would suggest we wait to vote.
Yeah, do a budget transfer, then we'll vote on it next. basis.
Yeah, and we can do, when your next oil and chip bill comes in, we'll get it covered, and then these numbers, but just so you know, Ed asked me to go through the numbers with you. Okay, that's great, and then then you'll be finished with the big work, and we'll actually be under budget, and under our allotment, how about that? I'll call it the
Yeah,
allotment.
Excellent.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? That's great. Okay, thank you very much. Town clerk report?
Pretty much business as usual for lately. And we've been working on some exciting events that I think Supervisor Moss will be discussing later. The events for the flyers.
We're gonna do those with the department.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
so those are up and coming, and there's something to look forward to. That's all I have.
Okay. Next up, we have our committee reports, and actually the CAC flyer, if you wouldn't mind. The Conservation Advisory Council is having their first Food for Thought event this Saturday night. And if Andrea can share her screen, basically they're going to be, it's a free event for the residents. There's a wonderful speaker. He's going to be talking about pollinators and all kinds of other things. And he is going to be speaking out here. He's an expert, and he's been to lots of other garden clubs and CACs around the state. There's a caboose on the loose food truck right out here in front of Town Hall that people wandering in the park can come over and get ice cream. It's an ice cream truck, actually. It's not food. And they even have wine ice cream, so it'll be fun. But the CAC people will bring their own chairs, and they'll sit out on the lawn here and look out over. I tell you, that Equestrian Center is looking beautiful after Jake and his crew cleaned it up. You should, if you get a chance to drive past it, it looks gorgeous down there. And so they're going to enjoy the view and listen to a nice talk on Saturday night at 6 p.m. And I'm wondering, they asked the people would register just so they made sure they had enough, but I think 6 p.m. it's free, but still registering just gives them a count. So bring your own and sit, listen to a great lecture at 6 p.m. and enjoy some ice cream after dinner. So that's their first. It's we hope a lot of people come. That was the only one. Okay. That was the CAC's report for tonight. Next up is Parks and Recreation. So we are going to invite Mr. Jake Gosnell, if we can.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, go to, yeah, so we can see Jake, I think.
Can you hear me?
Turn on my computer speaker.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Jake, hang on one second. We just have to turn on a speaker in-house.
Turn your microphone off.
How about now?
I hear you.
Okay,
Yep, go ahead.
so here we go. How's everybody doing? I just wanted to start out by talking about summer camp. Wanted to let everybody know that summer camp is almost completely full. Sessions 1, 2, and 4 are completely full, and they have been waitlisted. As far as session 3, we have 6 spots left. So that's pretty exciting. There is a wait list for all of them. If you call Steph and talk to her in the office, she'll put you on the wait list. And if anybody cancels or drops out, she will put you on, she'll give you a call and get you in there. And I really, really, really want to thank our team down in the rec department, Steph, Allison, Caitlin, all of our camp
Why does it do that? Hang on.
people and trying to stay on top of everything. And I just really can't say enough good things about them. They've been absolutely awesome. We're coming up on our first Equestrian Center event, which will be this Sunday. There's a horse show up there. The guys and I have been working pretty hard, getting all the jumps up there for Loretta, getting the place cleaned up. Very nice. So go check that out. I did want to let everybody know that swimming season starts for us in just a couple of weeks. We'll be open weekends starting June 5th. And then we will go to 7 days a week, the week of June 28th. So get your pool passes and all of that. And then as far as maintenance and everything like that, everything is kind of business as usual. And it is mow season and it has been raining a lot and then super sunny. So we have been running pretty hard to try and keep on top of all of that. Hopefully with the way the weather looks right now, it'll slow down a little bit on the mowing and we'll be able to keep rolling on some other things. We're hoping to start the tennis court project next week.
That's excellent.
That's
And
what I
you
got.
and guys, you and your guys have done a great job as well. Everything looks terrific. And I also wanted to say, your Wi-Fi looks like it's a little off and on, Jake, because you're
Okay.
there. But I wanted to mention the fabulous job that the team, everybody did to help us sign that contract with the Hudson Valley Dolphins, who will be using our pool for their swim team. And that will be for the whole year, for the whole season, before the pool opens and after the pool closes. And they're really nice people. We're thrilled to have them. So great job on that as well. And of course, the maintaining of that and working with them will be, I think, a lot of fun for everybody.
I did want to
Caliber.
I did want to mention one other thing. I wanted to really thank Allison Crook, who is kind of our aquatics person and our summer camp person. And she last weekend ran our very first, long time life.
It's frozen. Hold on.
That's great.
Hang on, Jake.
Mhm.
It froze. Try that again about Allison in the lifeguard class, because that's very important, but you froze right when you were starting it.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so last weekend, Allison Crook, our recreation person, taught our first, I know we used to but we haven't in a long time. She taught our first lifeguard class in a long time. It was full. It went super well from all reports. And she actually has another weekend.
Yeah. So Allison has another weekend of lifeguard certification classes. So what we're doing now is we're charging people to come and get certified, and she's a certified trainer. And some of them are our own potential lifeguards that needed to get certified.
Yes.
And have had trouble getting classes, So anyway, so we're going to have all of our lifeguards are in great shape. And we're, now making a little bit of money on lifeguard certifications just to make sure we get these people done. Anybody can join it, but we're also using it to train our own. And so Allison's doing a fabulous job with that. And she is, just because you've sputtered a little bit because of the Wi-Fi, Jake, she is our director of summer camps, and she oversees the pool, which is the way that's been run for a few years now. So anyway, she's doing a terrific job. So thank you, Jake. That sounds great. Good job with everybody down there. Okay, now I'm going to go to old business, just some updates. Furnace Pond Dam. Next week, our engineer is going to come and he's going to get in a boat and go around the pond and look things over and take some soil samples and look at the water. And it's still too soon to start on the boring test because the water level is so high. So anyway, if you see a guy out in a skiff there wandering around the pond, you'll know who it is. And then we'll get that information back later. The Dutchess County Workers' Comp Plan, crickets, just so you know, we are going to get data from them. The deal is that we all want to settle. We're going to get data from them. We asked for all the data. They wouldn't give us everything that we asked for. which is interesting, but we're going to use the data to compile what we think the normal exit charge would be under the contract, and give them that number, and then they'll either accept it or not. But we asked for all the data, and that was over a month ago. We haven't heard anything, but I'm sure they're busy, and when they're not busy, they'll finally get us the numbers, and we'll start working on that. I'm going to do Unionville Library Planning, and then I'm going to go to you, Kevin. So we don't so as far as Unionville Library Planning, I can tell you that the people involved in the fundraising effort have been having meetings, and I know that they would like more people to join. They're looking for about three or four more people, but also I think their job is focused on getting enough funds to renovate. So getting people involved from the town that aren't uncomfortable helping to solicit on that basis would be probably a good match for them right now. That team can evolve later. I know also they have a conference call with the library development team up in Albany. So that's the next step, and they've got a whole presentation prepared for our group. So anyway, things are moving forward, and we'll hear more from them after they go through, I think, a couple more steps, probably through the library development people with them. And that's me. So Councilman Derlin, why don't I turn the next one over to you about Unionville on Route 55.
Sure. So
Unmute. I'll mute.
Okay. I know a while back we talked about putting that flagpole on 55 where the new solar development is. We spoke about putting a flag in I guess it would be the east side. We discussed a few different options. You know, the type of pole, the height of the pole, size of the flag we liked. I sort of narrowed it down, or took the liberty of narrowing it down to about a 35-foot pole, and you can get a 6x10 flag for that. It seems like the cheapest and most popular option is like a satin colored. It's an aluminum pole that just is like brushed, you know, not painted or anything like that. The prices vary generally between like $2,800 and $3,600. The difference with them is just like almost the size of the base.
Yeah.
Some of them are rated a little bit different for the winds and things like that. They're almost all of them are over 100 miles an hour. But basically, if we want a wider base, you know, like basically they start at like a 7-inch base, and you can get as small as like a 5-inch base. They have different metal thicknesses and things like that. So it's almost like down to the little nitty gritty type things. I mean, the only thing that maybe would change a little bit is the wind rating on them, but they all seem to be rated over 100 miles an hour. And I would imagine if we knew a big storm was coming, that we would take the flag down.
Yeah.
Would you have like
These are internal.
the internal?
Yeah, everyone I priced was the internal halyard. And then the flag, you know, the flag itself, like we talked about last time, was like $80. Yeah, so the pole is most of the money, and then, you know, we can all, I'll certainly donate time and whatever it takes to put it in the ground. So that's really up to everybody. I mean, I know we talked about checking with DOT about how close we can have it to the road. There's one across the street at BY's that's comparable in size. And we can measure what they're off the road. I don't.
So the only other thing we have to check on is with the solar developer that's going to be there. I already mentioned it to him right when you brought it up.
Yep.
And sorry. Thank you, Andrea. The only thing is that the solar developer, you know, it sounds silly, but if the flag were fully glowing, does it block a solar panel? So I doubt. I mean, I'm sure we can find a good place to put it so it doesn't interfere with anything. That was their only question. So it's not a big deal, but they said, yeah. They would probably be interested to know. They're going to be interested to know where we want to put it. But the DOT is probably the more important, you know.
Yeah, as long as we get it off out of there right away, I'm sure they'll be fine.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to give everybody a picture of what you want or what you've selected?
I mean, I have this. We can all take a look at this maybe after the meeting. You guys can all just look at these pictures. I mean, there's not much to offer in the pictures. It's the flagpole. It's pretty standard, really.
And it's
Almost
brushed
all of them I went to.
brushed aluminum.
Yeah, I went into like the specifications and kind of checked them out, and they're all installed the same way. They pretty much all call and almost look exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know, unless you want a gold ball on top versus a regular oval.
No,
Um, But generally, it's pretty, almost pretty standard. It almost seems like they steal pictures from each other.
Yeah.
The spec sheet looks pretty much the same. Like I said, the only real difference is how big we want the base. We want it to be really substantial, like a 7-inch base, or a little bit skinnier at a 5-inch base. And that's part of the pricing. you
and
know.
35 feet's the right height?
Yeah, the one next door looks like it's about 35 feet. Might even be 30, but I think.
So they did, okay, so you like that?
And that could hold a 6x10 flag. It doesn't get crazy out of control with the pricing. Obviously, the bigger they get there.
Yeah.
And then to be shipped in multiple pieces. I don't know.
And the it's interesting because a resident brought this idea to our attention, Bob Ritter, and he really thought that we should have a flag there and also announce Unionville in a nice way with a sign at some point. So he wants us to be proud of the solar development and proud of the entering into the town. So I think it's a lovely idea. I mean, from a payment perspective, we don't have a contingency fund this year. We did not put it in the budget because we were so strict with our budgeting so that we wouldn't raise taxes, as you guys remember. We've had some good things happen. The Department of Labor returned our $15,000, which was good. We got a $7,000 check we were not expecting for shared services. And we have a very healthy fund balance if everything, but, we're marching towards that. We're marching towards two important things, which is our dam and then what's going to happen with that library or the roof. Those are two big biggies for us. So we've got them covered. I've discussed it with a lot of people. We're covered on both of those. We have to talk about details, but because of the shared services check, which was completely unexpected, that's $7,000 we can afford to pay for this. So if anybody's wondering about payment, I just want you to know we can do it and it's not coming from anything else.
One other thing with the flag we should think about too is lighting. You don't light it, you gotta take it down every night. It's only proper. So we should think about lighting that.
That would look good.
We probably don't have a service on that side of the road that we own.
You want me to-
That's gonna be, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we want to hear that, Kevin. That's important.
I was just talking about, we should think about lighting the flag, unless we're gonna take the flag down every night at dusk.
Can we talk to the solar people? Maybe they could provide. some?
Yeah, we would need a service for power. I don't know, we probably don't have anything on that side. If that's a cost, unless they have a service for what they do, maybe we could just take a circuit off of that for our power, for the light.
Yeah.
Possibility.
Can't hear Kevin.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not connected to the audio. He's unmuted, but it's just not. I could hear it in the background a little, so it wasn't all not.
So what you're saying, which is a great idea. So the to-do here is let's check with the solar people and see what they have. I can talk to George about checking into that because we're doing a walkthrough with them the week after next. So first week of June, George and Tom Harvey and I've got all my lists from the contract and everybody's got a list. So we're doing the walkthrough with them and we can bring it up at that point. I can have George check into that with them.
And I mean, nowadays with the LED lights, if we do something on a photo cell, it's not gonna use a lot of power and it'll go dusk to dawn by itself. So
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have an issue with that. I mean, you're talking a couple watts for, 10 to 12 hours a day.
Great. That's a great idea. Okay, so we will,
Based on the location, I think we should probably go with as heavy duty a pole as we can get. Because that is a large flat area without any tree cover or anything like that. It's going to be susceptible to high winds through there.
right.
And George should know when the maximum shears in this area. So that's another resource.
All right, Kevin had mentioned that there was a
Yeah, there's most of the wind readings. I think the lowest one was like 104, and then you get all the way to like 79.
There's different maps that show like different areas when maximum speed is per area.
Yeah, that's about it. But
So that's a change from you're going like, has it been tested for hurricane wind, that kind of thing?
yeah, so
And they have that listed in there, like they can tell you.
yeah,
Oh,
some of the
that's good.
websites have.
That's great.
Normally, you could get the same, like a 35-foot pole with a 104, 122, 179, and then they're priced up accordingly.
But Steve, I mean, Councilman Frazier's right. I think, I remember when we put roof tiles on our house, you know, they had to be tested to 124 because that was hurricane wind speed or something. So we should probably be cognizant of that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
again, it's like you were saying, it's a little disrespectful, you know, to let the thing get blown over with the first,
For the
I
for
say-
a little bit in increased price, I think it's cheap insurance for
Yeah.
fewer problems down the road.
yeah, that's a great idea. So why don't you just recommend it and then, and we'll tally up the
I'll look
pricing
up the heavier one.
that the higher
I
wind
want to
speed.
say, it was like 3,600 for that one, but.
And we can approve this at the work session because we're going to notice it as a meeting that we take action. So we can, if you get it done, you get a chance, just send the numbers out or give them to me. I'll tally them up for you and we'll send them out, whatever. But if we all have those, we can get that done that night. That's great, very exciting. Nice input from everybody. It's going to look great. Thanks so much, Councilman. All right, and that was it for old business. Now let's go to new business tonight. We're pleased to have an in-person guest. Resident Glenn Vilcek has requested to come and talk to the board. We're delighted to have you. I hope your knee's okay.
It's healing, it's 5 weeks.
That's good. Congratulations. I hear people like their new ones.
Well, it's a total knee transplant.
Amazing.
Replacement, so.
Well, I'm gonna make sure that your sound is on. Clerk Casey's gonna help you. And then once you're unmuted, you have the floor.
Don't we got this?
Good. All right, you have the floor, sir.
Huh?
You have the floor. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So my name is Glenn Vilcek. I live on Duncan Road here at 98 Duncan Road. Pretty much, I think I'm the only person that lives on Duncan Road. But Betsy asked me to come down and, relay a message that a conversation that we had a couple of months ago regarding the security within the park. What prompted me to come down and speak to her was an incident that happened a couple of months ago. I don't know if all you guys are privy to it, but there was a fire up on the east side going down towards the campground. You know where the campground is? Yeah. So there was a fire that was set there, I'm sure by people, somebody, because it wasn't by lightning. And it was a tough spot because you couldn't get any trucks in there. So they had to come in with small trucks and pretty much put it out by hand. It started to go over into the woods. Some of the trees started on fire and they got it out. But anyway, that's what prompted me to come down and speak to Betsy about it because I don't feel that you can have proper security in this park, a park this big, without having a vehicle that can get in there. I've been roaming around this park for 50 years, since 1970. I don't have any inch of it. And although the park people have an RTV, they can get up on the trails. They pretty much go in there and cut trees that fall down and like that there. But as far as security, it's just not happening. And you have a lot of people coming into the park, kids. We had a fire some years ago, same type of thing, set 20 acres down here, a field on fire. There was like maybe 4 or 5 fire trucks that had come there. And the Hortons went up in the back and there was 3 kids up there with gas cans. And there's been other incidents that have happened. The thing is that you need to be able to get in there to have the security, and you're not going to get in there with a car. So my suggestion was to Betsy was let the town get a vehicle that can go in there, all weather vehicle. I have an RTV, I can go up in there, I can, I use it on my place. But you can get an RTV that's fully enclosed, 2-seater, 4-seater, has heat, windshield wipers, probably for 20 grand or less. And now you have access to the park, which is where anything that's going to go on, that's going to be drinking, drugs, fire, whatever. So basically that's what my suggestion was to get a vehicle where you can get security in there where you really need it. Going down the road here or going on any of these roads around here isn't gonna get anything done in the park. So.
Well, Yeah,
So
you're
Supervisor
right.
Moss, I had you just.
Thank you. I know that brush fire was a scary thing because we watched it and it was smoking, and the fire department showed up and put it out and did a wonderful job. And I think when you and I were talking, I think you believed that there were a couple people that came back to take a look to see what the damage was.
They did. My wife was over there. She tried to get pictures of them. It was two not RTVs, four-wheelers that came there right after the fire guys left. And, there's an old law enforcement saying that says criminals return to the scene of the crime to see what damage they did. And matter of fact, they came back later, which I saw them from up in the house. So, I mean, that side of the park, you just can't get in there. I mean, they couldn't even get in there with fire equipment hardly, let alone, anything else. So if you had an RTV, you could patrol it. I'm not saying you're going to catch every incident that's potentially could happen, but you stand a lot better chance, with a vehicle that can get in there. It's a simple fix,
Right.
I think.
Right. And the constables have an opinion about it. We had a very interesting meeting with them then. And typically what we'll do, and the reason I asked you to come was because certainly the town board, not everybody, maybe not everybody knows you, but since you do live so close and you do see activity and the constables see activity behind the Equestrian Center too and other places. What the town board, I wanted the town board to hear you and have you come because you're talking about a potentially, $15,000, $17,000, $20,000 purchase. I don't know if those things can be purchased used or not, but I think it's something the town board should, it's an expenditure. So we have to take it under consideration.
Is that it? That's a big expenditure, is it? I don't know.
Well, I tell everybody that we're actually in the nickel and dime business here.
Okay.
You got to understand that.
All right.
We watch our pennies. So yes,
All right.
17 grand or 20 grand is a big expenditure for a town. But the details of this and how we might approach it, I think what we want to do as a board is figure out, do we have an issue? And if we have an issue, how we might solve the issue. And we typically would do that in executive session because we just wouldn't advertise it. So we can discuss it maybe after that with you later and share with you what the ideas are.
Right.
But it's really important to hear your idea. And
Right. Well, the thing is, it's short money. If you had an actual forest fire, this was just a fire in the field, which comes back. It actually comes back greener than it was.
I heard it. It's nice up there.
But, had you had something where the whole forest went up and all the trees went up, now you're talking about a big cost, And it's not only that, it's you explained to me, because I don't know exactly all the rules, but what you're telling me, four-wheelers aren't allowed over here and this isn't allowed over there, and that's not allowed over there. Kids are going everywhere. They're going everywhere. It doesn't, they know there's no enforcement, It's not something that you have to.
Where are they coming from?
Oh, who knows? They come from everywhere. They come from down on Dawn Road. They come from over the mountain over here. They come from everywhere. When you're riding bikes like that, you can, pretty much go anywhere.
Well, the sheriff's department has four-wheelers too. They would probably love to go riding back there if we invited them to say, hey, patrol whenever you want. I mean, I've seen them on West Flow before, a couple of sheriff four-wheelers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an idea.
Yeah, I know, but it's the type of thing where, they've got a million other things they're doing, and you got to call them when you find a specific incident,
But if they do roaming patrols, not announced, but,
if they do it,
weeks or.
Yeah, if they do it, I know they did damage down at the Equestrian Center some years ago, doing burnouts and stuff like that. And, it's just not the type of thing that you can enforce and supervise and, have security on if you can't get in there.
Yeah.
And that's why the sheriff's department has a four-wheeler, because you can't go in these places with a car.
It's interesting with the sheriff's department too, because if we put them on a schedule and said we would like coverage on these hours, then they're charging us, it's $75 an hour.
Oh, they charge.
And there's always a minimum of 3 or 4 hours.
It's a minimum, and then, they were 86, they dropped their rate a little bit, but I mean, it's.
I didn't know if they would do it as like control per se.
And it's interesting because our constables, and we will share some of this conversation in an executive session, maybe before our work session, but, our constables do have an opinion about all of this and with what Mr. Villachek saying. I think we can fall back on the sheriff's department whenever, if we wanted to, we could have them come regularly, but there is a much different cost. It's triple the cost. And so, you know, it's something like maybe we should think about a long-term plan that's works for the town and works for residents and what we're trying to do. But so it's food for thought for us. And then when we come back for our work session, we'll have this and we'll have an executive session to talk through some details and share what the constable said. But it's coming. In other words, it's something that we need to address, and it's important that the board hear what you say. So I wanted you to come, and I appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, how do you like living up there?
It's okay. It's okay when they don't start fires.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. No, that's great.
Yeah,
Well,
I know
thank
Betsy
you for
called
this.
me. She called me down at my shop and said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right. Are you all, what are you talking about?" She says, "There's all this smoke coming from your house." My heart almost stopped, you know, and I got in the car and I drove over there and I called you back and I said, "No, it's your fire. It's on the other side."
Well, you had had a fire before, so
Yeah, but that was lightning, so, you know.
That's right. That's something that
This one wasn't lightning.
the hand of God.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is different. Well, all right. Well, it's really, you're giving us something to think about, and we're going to be doing that and analyzing some, plans.
Good.
So appreciate it.
Good.
Thanks, Glenn. All right, we're going to continue on now. I think Jake is still on the line. I hope we can hear Jake okay. At this point, we're going to talk through the Long Barn doors and the purchase that everybody should have hard copy of what was emailed. There are three, well, I know you guys have already seen these. There are three estimates on doors, and then there's a picture on the last page of what doors would go there. Jake, can say hello so we make sure we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Reason.
Can you hear me now?
Who's turning on?
Hang on 1 second, Jake. We're putting speakers.
How
Okay,
about now?
we can hear you.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to walk us through? I mean, we've been looking at this for a couple of weeks. I think everybody's had it. Do you want to pick your favorite and the one that you would?
Well, I mean, it's not my favorite, but from what we have out of the three estimates, the one that I would recommend is kind of the best price wise for what everyone is quoted. They all kind of quoted similar things. The one that is in front of you guys that we recommended that we go with comes with the hardware, comes with everything. And then the guys and I would install it, would install the 10 doors to then save the town the money of the installation. And we would go pick them up as well. So we're saving on delivery, we're saving on installation, and this company was super, super easy to work with and was more than happy to, give us a little tutorial on how to take the old, springs down. And I mean, for apples to apples, it's very good. So that's what I would recommend.
And was that D&D?
D&D, yeah, sorry.
Right.
D&D doors from right across the river.
Okay, so that was D&D and
Yeah,
over in Gardner. The doors look great. I think that.
I like them.
Yeah. And I think just to remind people, because Councilman McGivney was asking some important questions. We have been talking about these doors for a long time because they're rotten at the bottom. I know Jake's having a little trouble with Wi-Fi, but they're rotten on the bottom. Several of them are open, so critters are going in. And it's been on our list. Go ahead. Sorry.
They're wooden. They and yes, we try and keep paint on them and all that stuff, but they are I don't want to say original because those barns are very old, but they've been there for quite a long time. These new doors will not rot. They come pre-painted. They are green and they are super low maintenance. Plus they are way more secure than an old wooden door is going to be, which is important. When we have things stored in the barn that we don't want people to get into.
Right.
Sure.
There's a lot of things being stored in there now, and it's used for summer camp, even a couple of those bays, but important things are. And then we have the Gaelic the GAA.
Yeah, they use one bay for their goals.
Yeah, and they're another facility rental customer of ours that we're pleased to be working with, and they use one. So anyway, it's probably more important now for security than even it was before. It's become more of an important storage space. So, and I would say, you know, we've carried this on our infrastructure list for a long time, and we had a price estimate of 20. Now, sometimes we throw out numbers before we've done any homework.
Correct, yeah.
So 20,000, I was pleased when Jake turned in these quotes, and at
And
90.
Jake, I'm glad you guys can do it, you put them up yourselves. That's a big savings right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's appreciated.
See, this company delivery would be just delivery alone was 400. So. All right, well, I think that's what everybody needs to know, because you've had quotes, you've had time to look, and you guys
Yeah.
probably know all about this stuff anyway. So, all right, we'll come back to the motions in a second, Jake, when we're going through that section. I just want to finish up the new business.
Sure.
This is a discussion for the town board that we'll pick up again in a future meeting. I wanted to tee it up for you. In our work session, we talked about some residents having that idea about a reforestation program. And we're gonna put that, we're gonna talk to the CAC and see if we can get some, because there are some grants actually being offered by the state for a reforestation program. So I'm gonna ask them if they'll look into that. This is a new discussion. This is a request that came from our code enforcement officer, because I keep going to him with the complaints I'm getting from residents, either on the phone or email. And then he showed me the complaints he's dealing with. So basically, he would like us to change, I think it's an ordinance, and George was away today, so we didn't finish talking about it. But currently we have the number of licensed vehicles that somebody, unlicensed vehicles, that's, I probably typed it wrong too, right?
Yeah. But
I
that's
did.
okay.
Okay, sorry. The number of unlicensed vehicles that you can have in front of your house or on your property is 2. And it seems that a lot of people around town have 3, 4, 5, and there's one house with 18. So basically, yeah, it's not a pretty sight, but because residents call about it so often, because usually if they have a number of unlicensed vehicles that are stuck all over their lawn's not mowed, and the trash is out there, it usually kind of goes hand in hand. George would like us to consider taking that number 2 down to 1. He thinks everybody should be able to have 1 unlicensed car.
So one pickup truck jacked up, parked in your yard.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And-
One plow truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but those are licensed. You see, those are all licensed. Yeah, that's true. But it's the unlicensed ones that haven't been moved
Yeah,
for
for
4
years.
years and that
Yeah.
are sitting there, and there are people with a lot of them. So he would like us to change that, because he said it's just, it's helpful for him to write the ticket.
Helpful for everybody.
It's helpful for the residents that are complaining and the neighbors, and
Yeah.
and it's the appearance. So I am mentioning that to you on behalf of our code enforcement officer. And we will get the current ordinance in writing to you and get all the details you need. And we'll talk about it starting at the work session in the next board meeting. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Yeah, I think it'll help a lot of people. And Ray Jarina, our justice, said that he is not backed up enough to handle anything that George throws at him. So he'd be,
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
he said if, George is starting to actually write some tickets, I guess, to people that aren't following the current rule. And I think that, if they would come in and talk about why they have it, we might even why they're doing that. We might even get some information from it. So that'll be interesting if we can hear from George. All right, that's it. So now we'll move on to resolutions and motions. The first motion, and I sent it to you on email because it's too many pages, really, is the MS4. We're going to come back to our events at Andrea, you might want to get those flyers up, because we got 2 events that we want to advertise to people. While we're looking at motions, maybe the folks could look at those. Anyway, we completed, Tom Harvey did an excellent job. It's not a very complicated report, but he coordinated with George Kolb and Ed Kading and Jake Gosnell, and everybody did their part that's required on stormwater management. The report is finished. It's ready to go in. And every year we mention this and show people the report is put on the website after we vote and approve it, and then it gets sent up to the DEC, and it needs to go before June 6th. So I'd like to, since it's pretty standard and it's like the one we've done before, because we didn't do that much extra, but we did everything we were supposed to do. I'd like a motion to approve the MS4 for 2021.
I will make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving MS4 for 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. This motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll get that out tomorrow. The next motion that we'd like everyone to consider is a motion to approve the purchase of 10 new long barn garage doors. Do I hear a motion?
And that will be coming from D&D, correct?
Yes.
That would be coming,
correct.
yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll make the motion that we purchase the garage doors. Can you turn that to speaker off?
Sure.
The garage doors from D&D as quoted under the recommendation of the park manager.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second? Okay, all in favor of purchasing the D&D doors?
Aye.
Say aye. Any noes? All in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Councilman Frazier.
Thanks,
Next
guys.
up is the motion to approve the time off cheat sheet. We reviewed this already in an earlier meeting. Basically, we created a cheat sheet so the employees would have something to refer to. They like to hang it up instead of looking at the employee handbook.
Yeah.
We want, yeah, it's much more convenient. We keep adding material to it, but the one change we wanted to make sure was clear and clarify, which is why we wanted you to approve it, and is that unused sick time is not paid out upon retirement. Some people keep asking us, we're like, no, it just is used, it's supposed to be used while you're working for your family, for you or your close family, if you have an illness. So that's the one clarification. And we also added bereavement time to this because unfortunately we've had a couple of inquiries because people have had deaths in their families. So we just added it to the sheet. So now it's,
Well, yeah.
yeah, it's a packed full of information, but may I have a motion to approve the paid time off cheat sheet with the clarifications for 2021, please?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? All right, all in favor of?
No, I'd like
approving-
to discuss this, please.
Okay,
Every time we review this employee manual, we take something away from the employees. And our employees here are very dedicated to the work that they do. I think we're very fortunate to have them. In this case, we're going to penalize someone for having good attendance on their job throughout their career here. I don't see that that's the way we should be doing this. It's a minimal liability to the town. We don't have that many employees to start with. And I don't see that this is the way we want to treat our employees.
well,
I did speak with a couple of them through, since the last meeting, and the two that I spoke with were not too happy about this coming about. And I don't think that we should take the risk of further damaging the morale here with our employees within.
further damaging, I take offense to that. There's no damage to morale here. And let me clarify one thing. We're not changing anything.
Right, we're just spelling it out.
This was not approved. It was never approved before. This is not a change. There's no change here.
It's a clarification.
What we did in 2019 is we made a huge increase based on Tom St. Ange's recommendation. We allowed employees, instead of getting 12 sick days a year that ran out at the end of the year, we allowed employees to carry over up to 130 days. It was a big increase. So they get 130 days. We never intended, and it was in part of the conversation, we never intended to say this was a benefit that gets paid out at retirement. It was, you're going to now get 130 instead of 12. So there's nothing being taken away here. I think you misunderstood what I said. I'm clarifying. We wanted to clarify for employees.
Well, I'm clarifying my position on it.
But your position is incorrect because.
That's your
yourself is
opinion.
Incorrect.
That is your opinion.
No, sir. The fact is that we are not taking anything away from the employees. It was voted on in 2019. They don't get paid sick leave upon retirement. So if you want to let us know who you spoke to, we'll circle back to make sure.
Oh, I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Well, then please circle back and explain to them that you were wrong. You're not taking anything away. We're just clarifying so they understood what was voted on in 2019, and 130 days was a big uptick for all of them. Tom St. Ange presented it. We took it on and approved it, and he was very
Yeah, he was
happy when he
happy.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big plus. So this is a cheat sheet so that people understand their benefits without having to dive into the book. There's nothing,
Reference, really.
yeah, it's a reference. That's all this is. No changes here. So if the discussion is over, unless anybody else would like to discuss?
I
Okay,
request a roll call vote on this one, please.
let's have a roll call vote on, we have a motion, we have a second, I believe, Councilman Derlin second, am I correct? Okay.
Mhm.
Clerk Casey, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Frazier,
Nay.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Derland,
Aye.
Councilman Welsh,
Aye.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye. Looks like it passes. Thank you very much. Last time we went through this, more of the cash handling procedures that we update every year. We had to tweak those cash handling procedures, which we've already been through. We made this look a little better since you saw it at the last time we met. We took out incorrect grammar and
Mhm.
periods where they shouldn't be, and then we added the appendices at the back. So we have a really good, wonderful cash handling procedures. And I want to thank Danielle Carney, our wonderful bookkeeper, for creating Appendix A, B, and C so that it is really easy to collect. If there isn't much cash anymore, but when people do, the state really comes, they want us to really watch
Yeah,
every penny,
sure.
which we do. But anyway, and Danielle created these daily pool passes people will pay with cash and stuff, and ways for people to record it easier. So we're in complete compliance. So we have, I think, a terrific cash handling procedure now with these appendices that Danielle
Let's hope
added.
we can generate some more cash.
Exactly. Well, look at our recreation's doing a great
Yeah,
job this
yeah.
year. So we're hoping that with the pool as well. Now, that being said, again, this wasn't changed this was not changed. We cleaned it up and added the appendices so it's easy for people to track. So may I have a motion to approve the updated cash handling procedures document, please?
I'll make that motion to approve the updated May 2021 cash handling procedure.
Thank you, Councilman. I'll go ahead and second that motion. All in favor of adopting the cash handling procedures for the Recreation Department for May of 2021, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No, motion carries. Okay, that is all of our motions for this evening. And before we move to pay the bills, I just wanted Clerk Casey, if you can get those flyers up. We wanted to just advertise. We have coming up we have the horse show. We have the CAC, we have Food for Thought on Saturday night that you saw. We have the horse show on Sunday. And then next Wednesday, May 26th, we have a full moon hike that Jake Gosnell, our park manager, leads. And it's sold out, just so you know. I just want you to know his full moon hike is sold out. There's the nice flyer for that. But you might want to get on a wait list if anybody wants to go and somebody drops out. And then just a reminder that on June 5th, we're having the 26th annual horse pull up at the Equestrian Center. And there will be food up there, and they're going to do mini horses pulling little cinder blocks.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they're going to do minis at 9 a.m. and then they're going to do the draft horses carrying the big stuff at noon. They're going to have it announced as usual. It's kind of a fun event. It's not a big, these people come down from New England. I don't know. It's really old school. It's very nice if anybody'd like to come. Jake, let's see.
Hey,
I
Can you hear me?
don't see Jake.
Just touch this.
I see him.
can you
Well,
hear me?
Can you let him speak? I can't see him because of the screenshot, because of the flyer.
All I wanted to do was remind everybody who is coming to the full moon to make sure they bring a headlamp or a flashlight.
Right. Thank you, Jake. Did everybody hear that? To bring a headlamp when you go out in the park
It's on the flyer.
after dark. Yeah, but apparently people forget, so he wanted to remind them. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gosnell. May I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
All in favor of paying the bills? I'll second that.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the bills will get paid. Are there public comments on town issues? Did anybody sign up? Did he sign up for
Can you-
one today by 5 o'clock, or did he send it in writing? Okay.
Can you hear me?
I just put one on.
Mr. Morrison, did you want to make a comment on town issues?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I do have it's not anything you covered on this call. And each of you are much more acquainted with what's going on with the state and the county than I am at this point. But do you have any idea when residents will be able to attend work sessions and board meetings in person? I can't.
Thank you, Steve.
If someone was talking, I could, if someone was talking, I couldn't hear them.
Glenn, we're going to do that in June. We're going to start with the town board meeting in the third Thursday in June.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any other comments? That's echoing. That was it? Okay. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Mrs. Tillman and Glenn Vilcek as our guest tonight. We appreciate you being here. May I have a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. I'll move that we adjourn the meeting. Thank you for coming, everybody. Have a good night.